This is Atlantic Television Network Global News at 9 p.m. First, the headlines. Rivers Assembly warns against dealings with CTC. Police sergeant shoots father to death. Tinubu congratulates new NBA president. Osigwe. Reps probe missing crude, dirty fuel. 5 killed in Croatia nursing home shooting. Kadi backs Kamala Harris. Ekwemesi sets to join Leuven. And now to the rest of our stories. The Rivers State House of Assembly has frowned at the continued stay in office of the caretaker committee chairman despite a judgment of the Supreme Court declaring them to be illegal. At plenary on Monday, the leader of the House, Major Jack, informed the members of the certified true copy of the aforementioned Supreme Court judgment in his possession, which he laid before the Speaker. Debating on the statement by the House leader, members condemned and berated those who described as imposters and warned all banks, traditional rulers, governments at all levels, non-governmental organizations and those doing businesses in River State to not transact any business with unelected individuals parading themselves as caretaker chairman, as they are threats to the fragile peace in the state. Commenting on the House leader's statement, the Speaker, Honorable Martin Chike Amewule, averred that more worrisome is the fact that these individuals, not known to law, go to the banks and withdraw monies meant for the local government councils for wanton squandering in the name of non-existent caretaker committees. Speaking further, Honorable Martin Amewule urged the police and other security agencies to swing into action and arrest the imposters to avoid breakdown of law and order in the state. Honorable Amewule emphasized that the 10th Rivers State House of Assembly, in accordance with the provisions of Section 7.1 of the 1999 Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, as altered, only democratically elected officials are to manage the local government councils, adding that Section 64.1 of the Rivers State Local Government Law No. 5 of 2018 further empowers the House to give directive that only democratically elected officials should pilot the affairs of the council. Reiterating the position of the House, the Speaker stated that the House would not fold its arms and condone the crass disregard to the laws of the state and judgments of the Supreme Court of the land by some imposters.
I want to bring to the notice of this House once more that I am in receipt of the Supreme Court judgment, which was delivered on the 11th day of July 2024, Mr. Speaker. This judgment totally abolished the so-called caretaker committee, interim member whatsoever name that was given. This document, this judgment has abolished what they call caretaker committee. Mr. Speaker, by your leave, may I lay this document as a working document at the table. Please do so. Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Impostors, sorry, are parading themselves as caretaker committee chairmen and members in the 23 local governments. Mr. Speaker, this worries me because this House has, in 2023, amended the laws of local government in the state, directing that only elected local government officials shall be the ones responsible for local government activities. Mr. Speaker, to worsen it also is, and why the committee is bothered is that on 11th of July 2024, the Apex Court, the Supreme Court, gave a judgment granting the autonomy of local government, whereby it was stated unambiguous that only elected local government officials shall run the affairs of local government, which Rivers State is among the local government, the states involved.
I'm calling on the security agencies to the police to go after these people, to ask them to stop them from parading themselves as illegal technical committee members. And they should stop the paramount rulers, traditional rulers, chiefs, youth bodies, market people, women and men should stop dealing with them because they are impostors. Then radio stations, TVs, print media and etc. should stop regarding them as technical committee members.
That's because sometimes I ask myself, if Rivers State, we are part of Nigeria, that will come out to be the law. So what am I saying in the essence? I want to call on the governor. The way he called them out, he should obey the law and call them in immediately.
The governor is inviting anarchy. The Supreme Court says there should be no caretaker committee. And Mr. Governor is still keeping those caretaker committee chairmen roaming around the street, collecting levies and rent. Is it not anarchy?
And I'll put it to the House. I'll put the question so that we'll vote one way or the other. First, that we should call on the Nigeria police to commence the immediate arrest of these impostors across the 23 local government areas of our dear states. Secondly, that we are going to call on all banks, government at all levels, residents of River States, all those doing business in River States, foreign embassies, all traditional institutions, even non-governmental organizations, everybody to disregard and immediately call the attention of law enforcement agencies whenever they see these impostors parading or moving on the streets in these states, asking for money, disturbing our market women in the markets, or disturbing our people in the motor parks, or asking people to pay rates or levies to these individuals. They should immediately report to police or other law enforcement agencies. Honorable members, finally, that this House is insisting that only elected people, only elected individuals are permitted to run or manage the affairs of the 23 local government councils in River State. Those for, 21. Against, nil. Abstention, nil. Honorable members, by this voting, we have agreed to all that we have resolved this morning, and that stands as the resolution of this 10th Assembly. And we want to mandate the House Committee Chairman on Information, the Honorable NMA Alabo George, to ensure that this resolution gets to Rivers people by way of a public notice immediately.
The Federal High Court in Abuja has declined to shut down all expenditures of Rivers State Governor Siminalayi Fubara, pending the hearing and determination of the suit by Martin Amewule-led Rivers State House of Assembly. Ruling on the motion, ex parte Justice Emeka Nwite declined to grant the prayers, though they ordered Martin Amewule-led lawmakers to put the defendants on notice. Justice Nwite, however, granted the other motion ex parte to serve by substituted means the originating process and other applications in the matter of Governor Fubara, Accountant General of Rivers State, Rivers Independent Electoral Commission, Chief Judge of Rivers State, Justice Simeon Amadi, Chairman of RSIEC, Adolphus Enebeli, and Government of Rivers State. The lawmakers also joined the Central Bank of Nigeria, Zenith Bank PLC, Access Bank PLC, and the Accountant General of the Federation in the suit. Justice Wite adjourned the matter until August 7th for the hearing of the motion on notice. Atn recalled that the first and second plaintiffs, being the Rivers State House of Assembly and Martin Amewule, had filed the suit through their counsel, Joseph Dauda, SAN, against the Central Bank of Nigeria, Zenith Bank PLC, Access Bank PLC, and the Accountant General of the Federation as the first to the fourth defendants, seeking an order of interlocutory injunction restraining the banks from honoring any request, command, order, or mandate from any bank or instrument, financial instruction, or other instructions issued by the governor or the River State government. Akwa Ibom State chapter of the Association of Community Pharmacists has called on the state governor, Umar Eno, to reactivate and fund the state's Counterfeit and Fake Drug Monitoring Committee as a public health emergency to tackle issues of counterfeiting and smuggling of drugs in the state. This was part of the resolutions contained in a communique issued at the end of the third annual scientific conference of the association with the theme, Medicine Security is in an unstable economy, the role of community pharmacists. The communique, which was signed by the association chairman, Tony Anderson, and made available to newsmen on Monday, raised concern over the high rate of drug counterfeiting, especially in a depressed economy, and stressed the need for monitoring to ensure medicine security. The conference similarly condemned the hike in the cost of medications in Nigeria, which it noted was occasioned by what they described as a depressed economy and rising cost of energy. It also frowned at the heavy reliance on importations of medications and active pharmaceutical ingredients from China and India, despite the nation's local capacity to produce, noting that the rising cost of energy and volatile economy of Nigeria had led to the withdrawal of some multinational pharmaceutical companies from Nigeria, such as GlaxoSmithKline, collapse of local manufacturers such as Jubilee Syringe Manufacturing Company in Ona in Akwa Ibom State. While commending Eno for financing the healthcare system for the poor, the association called for the strengthening of the Akwa Ibom State Health Insurance Agency. The conference also called on the Akwa Ibom State government, in line with her Arise agenda, to support the ongoing public health awareness campaign of the association, aimed at raising the health consciousness of Akwa Ibom residents by discussing vital health topics weekly across various electronic media. Cross River Akwa Ibom State Command of the Nigeria Customs Service has auctioned off 26,625 liters of seized petrol to the public in Cross River State at a discount rate of 9,000 naira per 25-liter keg. ATM recalled that the National Coordinator of Operation Whalewind, Controller HK Ejibunu, had at Cross River Akwa Ibom FTZ Area Command Headquarters in Calabar on Tuesday, July 16, 2024, showcased huge seizures of petroleum products. Speaking on Monday in Calabar, Ejibunu reiterated that the exercise was in continuation of efforts to disrupt and dismantle the local network cartels and smugglers of petrol, especially in the riverine areas. Ejibunu noted that the operation is jointly coordinated by the Office of the National Security Advisor and the NCS in synergy with the Nigerian Midstream and Downstream Petroleum Regulatory Commission. The auctioned off seized 1,065 25-liter kegs of PMS, totaling 26,625 liters of PMS, together with one mode of conveyance with a total of DPV of 40,054,125 naira only were seized on different dates and locations across Agbaragba, Ikom, Akansoko Road, Ikom, Ogoja Road, and other places within the zone. He disclosed that the auction was conducted in strict adherence to existing laws and with the approval of the Controller General of Customs, Bashir Adeniyi. Ejibunu urged members of the petrol smuggling cartels to rethink and better go into legitimate businesses, noting that customs will continue to go after them as economic saboteurs. as there's no place for their illegal activities. In other news this evening, Delta State Police Command has arrested 5 suspected armed robbers and cultists in Ogara, Ethiopia West local government area in the state. The suspects include Ochuko Joel Afoye, 35 years old, Michael Amo, 29 years old, Great Ojare, 35 years old, Innocent Esefeta, 31, and Ogaga Ebuke, 27. They were arrested by the police special team in different locations at Ogara. The police recovered from the suspects 2 AK-47 magazines and 29 rounds of live ammunition and locally made pistols with 1 live cartridge concealed in a shoe. Delta State Police Public Relations Officer SP Great Edafe disclosed this in a statement on Monday, and that the suspects are in custody and investigation is ongoing. Analysts have condemned the approach of the military in recent attacks that claim lives of soldiers in Okuama community, Delta State. Speaking on Atlantic Television Network program Blowout, a socio-political analyst, John Edumange, stated that the approach of the military was outrightly condemned by Nigerians.
We all condemn the killing of the 17 soldiers, some of them top-ranking soldiers. Yes. But we also decry the approach of the military because their actions did not show professionalism in executing that assignment.
In view of professionalism, Mr. Idumange maintained that the military in its operation was expected to be law-abiding for the security of other lives and properties.
We expect a military, an army that should be law-abiding, because the army itself is a creation of the law in any way. So we expected the military to act in a professional way and not just to go in their usual just go in and begin to kill because they are quick. By the end of the day, there was one program we had asked a question: have they been able to apprehend the culprits? If no, it means they have failed.
This is coming as the Delta State Traditional Rulers Council have called on the federal and Delta State governments to immediately begin the reconstruction of the Okuama community destroyed in the aftermath of the brutal killings of 17 soldiers in March this year. Leadership of the Edo state chapter of the All Progressives Congress has called on the State House of Assembly to immediately commence impeachment proceedings against Governor Godwin Obaseki over his alleged threat to burn down the country. The state's acting chairman of the party, Emperor Jared Tenebe, made the call on Monday in a statement made available to newsmen in Benin City. Tenebe said the governor in a viral video threatened to burn down the nation if the murderers of Inspector Oko Onu in last Thursday's attacks at the Benin airport are not arrested by the police. The APC chairman also called on the state legislatures to immediately condemn Obaseki's reckless and dangerous threat to burn down the country. He posited that to forestall and end the governor's alleged unprecedented heinous plans, the Speaker and the members of Edo State House of Assembly should immediately start his impeachment process, which has become overdue. He said Edo people can no longer watch Governor Obaseki's incessant violent politics, which has heightened insecurity in the state. Tenebe alleged that Governor Obaseki has readily armed the Edo State Security Network and public work volunteers to kill, maim, and wound anyone who would hold contrary views of his divisive administration. He noted that Obaseki's latest violent threat against Nigeria and Nigerians is a descent into madness that must quickly be tamed to avoid anarchy and a breakdown of law in order in Edo State and Nigeria. He further alleged that the avoidable tragic incident of last Thursday, July 18, 2024, is a vivid example of how far state-sponsored extrajudicial killings have been going on, but are covered by the state government with deceptive reports of intercourt fights in the state. Tenebe stated that it is time to stop the governor before he allegedly carries out his threats. Moving on, Court of Appeal sitting in Abuja presided over Justice A.M. Lamido has reaffirmed the nomination of Asu Ighodalo as governorship candidate of the People's Democratic Party (PDP) in Edo State. In a unanimous judgment delivered by Justice Lamido, the appellate court on Monday threw out an appeal brought by former Deputy Governor Philip Shaibu. The appellate court held that the trial was right and unassailable in its ruling, determining that Shaibu did not meet the condition precedent before instituting the action, rendering the suit premature. The appellate court also affirmed the trial's court's decision that Shaibu failed to prove his allegations of vote allocation against the respondent, noting that conduct of the election and its results are presumed regular until proven otherwise. Shaibu's affidavit provided no evidence to show votes were allocated to the fourth respondent, the appellate court ruled. Consequently, the court dismissed Shaibu's case and awarded a cost of 1 million naira against him in favor of the respective respondents. ATM recalls that Shaibu had challenged the May 27 judgment of Justice James Omotosho of the Abuja Federal High Court, which declared Igbo Dalo as the rightful and duly nominated candidate of the PDP in Edo State. Lagos State Police Command has reiterated that it is illegal for vehicle owners and drivers to cover their number plates. The command spokesperson, SP Benjamin Hudeyin, disclosed this in a post on X.com on Monday, stating that the act violates the national road traffic regulations, noting that when convicted, the punishment ranges from fines to prison terms and that ignorance is not an excuse under the law. He also stated excerpts from the regulations which mandate clear visibility of number plates both day and night. ATN recalls in December 2023 that the police public relations officer Olumuyuwa Adejobi stated that just as it is compulsory for all vehicles to be duly registered, it is also compulsory to make registration numbers visible at all times. He, however, said that there are exceptions for pennant officers and heads of the three arms of government who use pennants or flags in their official cars. 300-level linguistics students of the Adekunle Ajasin University Akungba Akoko, simply identifies as Emmanuel, was at the weekend shot. Unidentified gunmen killed him in one of the private students' hostels in the town. Reacting to the sad development on Monday, the vice chairman, the National Association of University Students, Ondo Campus Monitoring Committee, Comrade Oladele Emmanuel, called on security agencies and the management of the university to investigate the matter and bring the culprits to book. Emmanuel stated that the motive for the attack, which sent shockwaves through the university town, is not yet known. He urged that the school management enhance security measures around the campus and surrounding areas by increasing security patrols, providing better lighting and more accessible emergency services. He called on students and members of the AAUA community to report any information that may assist in the investigation to the relevant authorities. The Ondo State Police said it has rescued all corps members kidnapped by the bandits along Benin-Owo Expressway. The kidnappers, numbering about 15 armed with AK-47 rifles, were said to have accosted the Sienna bus conveying the travelers, who include corps members, at around 11 p.m. last Friday at Omi Alafa village in Ifon, Ose local government area, and dragged the victims into the forest. It was gathered that the driver and one traveler sitting in front of the vehicles were shot dead by the bandits. The police public relations officer, Mrs. Fumilayo Odunlami, confirmed the release of the victims to newsmen on Monday. Operatives of the Kaduna State Police Command have arrested a suspect with different fabricated master keys of vehicles and motorcycles in Kaduna. The command's spokesperson, ASP Mansir Hassan, confirmed the arrest to newsmen on Monday in Kaduna. Hassan said the suspect specializes in vehicle and motorcycle theft, noting that in July, 20 police personnel received a distress call at a shop that a shop was burgled, and upon receiving the information, police operatives were immediately drafted to the area. He said on arriving at the scene, the suspect, Zaradini Suleiman, was arrested in the shop. According to him, the suspect, 35-year-old, is a resident of Galma Road, Chugugi area of Sabongari, Zaria, local government area of Kaduna State. He added that the suspect was said to have specialized in the theft of vehicles and motorcycles. Hassan said that the suspect would be charged to court for prosecution after the completion of the said investigation. National Association of Resident Doctors, Ahmadu Bello University Teaching Hospital has commenced a 5-day warning strike over the non-payment of salaries owed to some members. The branch association vice president, Dr. Ashiru Mikhail, made this known during a news conference on Monday in Zaria, Kaduna State. Mikhail said that the association on July 15, 2024 gave a 1-week ultimatum to the hospital management to address their demands or be faced with warning strike. He, however, noted that the request has expired on Sunday, July 21st, 2024, hence the commencement of the warning strike. He said the association would reconvene to review its strategy after the warning strike to determine the next line of action, adding that it rejects percentage salaries payments for members on the GIFMIS platform and demands repayment of parts of their withheld salaries. According to him, in June 2024, the salaries affected members were slashed by about 25 to 27%, representing 58,000 to 60,000 naira. He explained that the doctors who were paid in percentage in June were being owed salary arrears for 2021. Mikhail said the association's demands the implementation of the 25% CONMES upward review of the salaries of members who were on the GIFMIS platform, amongst other demands. Also, police sergeant has shot his father to death in the Tudu area of the Meduganari community behind the Borno State Police Command headquarters in Maiduguri. The officer, identified as Linus Wadzani, was said to have shot his father multiple times. The deceased has told mobile police personnel with Mopo 6 Maiduguri and serves as a security detail at the Borno State House of Assembly. While briefing journalists at the Borno State Police Command headquarters on Monday, the spokesman of the command, Kenneth Dasso, said the deceased was a retired assistant superintendent of police. He said the deceased served at the state command with the mounted units. Narrating how the incident happened, Dasso said Sergeant Linus got home at about 4:30 p.m. on Sunday and had heated argument with the father. This led him to fire him multiple times with AK-47 rifle, resulting in his instant death. He said when police officers visited the compound of the deceased, identified as Wadzani Natsiri, a family member disclosed that when Linus got home, there was no one except his father. As such, no one could give an account of what transpired. However, the spokesman said a police patrol team calmed the situation when they received a distress call. He said on interrogation, Sergeant Linus confessed to being under the influence of alcohol and other hard substances. According to him, a forensic team from the command has been assembled and blood samples of the sergeant collected to determine his mental status. An investigation has been carried out and begun into the homicide, he said. And then cried disappointments as it concerned the approach of the federal state government as it concerned the flood issue in Nigeria. Speaking of Atlantic Television Network program Society Watch, a public affairs analyst, Goodluck Edafe, accused the government of being guilty of flood management.
Talk about this Sokoto issue. You ask, where would they go? Government in Sokoto over the years. This issue, this might not be the first time this flood is coming across Nigeria. Since that time, how many times has the government, so to say now Sokoto, engaged the people in terms of policy and action of government to say this is a waterway? You must not build on the waterway.
In view of economic stability, Mr. Edafe decried against unethical and sharp practices of Nigerian leaders as it affects the nation's economy. Recall the Oluwo of Iwo, Oba Abdurrashid Akambi, has disclosed that President Bola Tinubu must lead the country back to God and affirm God's supremacy over everything, as well as to assure the nation's economy. Nasarawa State Police Command has arrested 5 suspects in connection with armed robbery incidents in the state. The State Police Public Relations Officer DSP Rahman Nansel confirmed the arrest in a statement released on Monday. The suspects, identified as Abubakar Nasiru, Yusuf Abdullahi, Bashiru Sani and Ibrahim Adamu, were arrested by police operatives from the New Karu Division. Among the recovered items were 2 laptops, 8 mobile phones of various brands, a power bank, an MP3 player, 3 ATM cards, a Dane gun, a flat-screen television set, 3 flash drives, a cutlass, and a catapult. In a related development, the police also arrested Danjuma Mujumbu, a notorious motorcycle snatcher, and recovered a stolen motorcycle. Operatives from the Kashi Division apprehended Mujumbu after he attacked a commercial motorcyclist and snatched his Bajaj motorcycle. The statement added that the Commissioner of Police, Umar Shehu Nada, has ordered the transfer of the suspect to the State Criminal Investigation Department, Lafia, for exhaustive investigation and prosecution. Nigerian police force has paraded members of a family for torturing a 13-year-old girl with hot water and pepper over an allegation of theft. The Commissioner of Police of the state, David Loyamonon, disclosed this to journalists at a police headquarters in Jalingo, the Taraba state capital. According to him, the state command had received a complaint on the 1st of July 2024 at Yoro Division that one Bulus Bitumpa tortured one Bridget Samuel, causing a temporal paralysis of her hands, while one Honorable Cleopas took the victim to his house in Jalingo in a bid to conceal the crime, failed to take the victim to the hospital, and resisted police intervention. A visit by newsmen to the Federal Medical Center Jalingo showed that the 13-year-old girl may not use 2 of her hands henceforth, following the act of torture. According to her, 2 of her uncles tied her 2 hands with a black rubber, dipped them into a bowl of hot water, and added pepper and sand to it. She is falsely accused of stealing 5,000 naira from the purse of the uncle's wife. She narrated that they tied her around 3 p.m. until around 11 a.m. The following day, when another uncle of hers stepped in, untied her, and took her to a nearby clinic for medical attention. Meanwhile, at least 38 persons suspected to be kidnappers around armed robbery, and illegal possession of firearms have been arrested by the police in the state. A breakdown of the suspects and their involvement, according to the police commissioner, reveals that 12 of the 38 suspects have been charged to court, with 26 others under investigation. In other news, operatives of the Federal Capital Territory Police Command have arrested Hashiru Baku, the mastermind behind the murder of late Brigadier General Harold Udokwere. Udokwere, who was the national chairman, retired members of the Nigerian Armed Forces, was murdered by armed robbers who invaded his residence on June 2024 and took away his gun. The police arrested and paraded Ibrahim Rabiu, Nafiu Jamal, Aliyu Abdullahi and Mohammed Nuhu in connection with the crime on June 24, 2024. Addressing journalists on Monday while parading arrested suspects, the FCT Commissioner of Police Beth Igwe said Baku was arrested in Kano while trying to run away from the country. Igwe said the suspect was an escapee from the Kuje Correctional Center. Commissioner of Police in charge of the FCT, Bennett Igwe, has begged residents of Abuja not to join the planned nationwide protests to prevent the destruction of new infrastructure recently put in place by the FCT administration and President Bola Tinubu. Some groups and citizens have scheduled a nationwide protest for August 1st in response to the economic hardship in the country. However, the FCT CP, while speaking with journalists in Abuja on Monday, urged residents to shun the protest. He stated that the police have made significant efforts to ensure security in the FCT, adding that the protest could jeopardize it. Igwe added that the government was doing its best by providing good roads. He urged the FCT residents to ensure the nation's capital remains safe by shunning the protests. You are watching the global news on Atlantic Television Network. We will be back after this break.
Corruption not in my country.
Driver, why you just dey jack us up and down like this now?
I hope nobody carry belle.
Why you ask oh?
Because this road where they see so, it no guarantee safe delivery.
We just dey vote for government, but we not get good governance.
At all.
Road so e no dey, light o usa, the infrastructure nko e come turn to be forbidden fruit for the city.
Corruption, spoil everything. Hello?
Hello, madam. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
My name is Mrs. Ayeni. I am calling from the Ministry of Humanitarian Affairs.
Okay. Okay, I've been expecting your call.
Madam, remove this your phone from loudspeaker.
No vex, now my phone be like that. Hello?
Are you there?
I hear, I'm hearing you.
Yes. We saw a copy of your invoice for computers, printers, and laptops.
Yes. Are you working on them now?
Ma, the prices you quoted are way too high now.
Madam, sorry, please don't cost.
We found the laptop you said is 1.8 million naira for 600,000 naira.
Hello?
Now my body network there.
I can't hear you. Network is bad.
Madam, we can hear you. Continue.
Hello, I can't hear you. I will call you back.
Their behavior not good now.
Madam, now this kind behavior they kill our country. You suppose do things differently. Make Nigeria for better.
Corruption not in my country.
This message is brought to you by the Atn Foundation, the MacArthur Foundation,
and with broadcast support from Atlantic Television Network.
Corruption not in my country.
I don't get a lot. Boy, they won't booga me small. They say, man, give them bribe. I say nothing. Okay now, we'll go block later. You remember that contract we will do that time now? They don't pay.
Welcome back. This is the global news on Atlantic Television Network. Now to the rest of our stories. President Bola Tinubu has congratulated the newly elected president of the Nigerian Bar Association, Afam Osigwe. Tinubu conveyed his congratulations in a statement signed on Monday by his special advisor on media and publicity, Njuri Ngelale. Atn gathered that the former General Secretary of the NBA, Osigwe, emerged as the president-elect in the 2024 NBA election, which was held online between 12 a.m. Saturday and ended at 11:59 p.m. The final vote count announced on Sunday afternoon showed Osigwe leading his two major contenders with over 20,000 votes. He defeated his closest rival, the chairman of the NBA Institute of Continuing Legal Education Governing Council, Tobena Erojikwe, who secured 10,998 votes, while former NBA Lagos branch chairman Chukwuka Ekwozom got 9,018 votes. The president also congratulates all newly elected officers of the NBA and members of the association on successful conduct of the elections. He assured the new leadership of the NBA of his administration support in addressing challenges affecting the association and legal profession in general. President Tinubu also commended the outgoing NBA president, Mr. Yakubu Maikusau, on his stewardship of Nigeria's foremost legal association. President Bola Tinubu has approved the appointment of Professor John Oladapo Obafunwa of the new as the new General Director of the Nigerian Institute of Medical Research. A statement issued by the presidential spokesman, Chief Njuri Ngelale, said that the appointment takes effect from July 24, 2024. Professor Obafunwa succeeds Professor Babatunde Salako, whose tenure expires on July 23, 2024. According to the statement, President Tinubu extended his gratitude to Professor Salako for his service to the nation. According to the statement, Professor Obafunwa qualified in medicine from the University of Lagos in 1980, following which he specialized in anatomic pathology, morphological studies of diseases. Graduating in May 1987, he later sub-specialized in forensic pathology in Scotland 1991 and obtained a law degree from England in 2004. He has a number of other academic qualifications and holds membership of various professional bodies in the UK, USA, and Nigeria. He had worked in the Cayman Islands, Bermuda, and the UK before returning to Nigeria in November 2004 to take up appointments as Professor of Forensic Pathology at the Lagos State University of College and Medicine. He is a former provost of LASUCOM, Chief Medical Examiner for Lagos State, and former Vice Chancellor of Lagos State University before his appointment. He was the International Regional Advisor of the Royal College of Pathologists UK for Sub-Saharan Africa. The Federal High Court in Abuja has once again dismissed a lawsuit filed by the family of former Nigerian military ruler General Sani Abacha against the federal government. The suit, which urged to challenge the revocation of Abacha's properties in Maitama district of Abuja and demanded 500 million naira in compensation, was thrown out by Justice Peter Lifu on multiple grounds. Atn learned that the case initiated 9 years ago by Mohammed Sani Abacha and Hajai Mariam Abacha, representing the late general's estate, contested the 2006 revocation of certificate of occupancy by plot 3119. The family urged that the revocation was unconstitutional and lacked proper compensation. Justice Lifu's ruling cited the suit was statute barred, having been filed in 2015 while beyond the 3-month window allowed by law following the 2006 revocation. Additionally, the judge determined that the plaintiffs lacked the legal standing to file the case, as they failed to present the required letters of administration for the estate. This dismissal marks the 4th time the Abacha family has lost legal battles over this property, with previous defeats in the High Court of the Federal Capital Territory and the Court of Appeal in Abuja. The court also recognizes the claims of Salamed Ventures Limited, which purchased the property from the federal government for 595 million naira in 2011. Justice Lifu agreed that the original revocation was lawful due to the breaches in the rights of occupancy covenants, including the unauthorized construction. The ruling ordered the Abacha family to pay Salamed Ventures 500,000 naira in litigation costs, further solidifying the government's stance on reclaiming assets linked to the Abacha regime. This case highlights the ongoing legal challenges faced by the family in their attempt to retain Abacha's rule. 2023 Labour Party presidential candidate Peter Obi has called for quick action in resolving the current economic crisis in the country. The call came as he expressed deep concern over the country's economic trajectory since 2015. In a series of tweets on Monday via X, in a post, he alerted the contrast between Nigeria's economic performance in the early years of its return to democracy and its current state. However, he pointed out that this growth was not sustained, with GDP growth collapsing from 2.79% in 2015 and the economy slipping into recession in 2016. In contrast, he noted that by 2023, Nigeria had fallen to the 4th largest economy in Africa, with a GDP of $375 billion and a per capita of $1,700. Accordingly, the situation worsened in 2024, with the GDP further declining to an estimated $253 billion and per capita dropping to $1,087. He then called for urgent action to prevent further economic collapse and moved it from consumption to production, as he criticized the current leadership. Civil Society Legislative Advocacy Center has strongly criticized the recent removal of Senator Ali Ndume as the Senate's chief whip, accusing the Senate under Senator Godswill Akpabio's leadership of stifling dissent and undermining democratic representation. In a statement signed by Executive Director Comrade Awal Musa Rafsanjani, CISLAC condemned Ndume's removal, stating that it demonstrates a trend of silencing senators and preventing them from voicing the concerns of the Nigerian people who they are elected to serve, likening it to autocracy. Highlighting Ndume's significant role in the formation of the current Senate leadership and its contributions to the government, CISLAC emphasized that unless a senator violates Senate rules in the Constitution, their removal reflects sycophancy and undermines the Senate's credibility as an independent body. CISLAC on non-governmental organizations that champions legislative advocacy further criticize the character and integrity of the Senate's current leadership, suggesting that their controversial backgrounds undermine democratic principles and threaten free speech and democratic consolidation. CISLAC also expressed concern that opposition political parties in the Senate have been ambushed and silenced, allowing anti-people agendas and continued non-transparent and unaccountable governance in Nigeria. Apex Igbo Socio-Cultural Organization Atn Global on Monday reiterated its charge to Igbos against joining the planned nationwide protest against President Bola Tinubu's government. Atn said the planned nationwide protest is an outcome of the current hardship in Nigeria, which is the comeuppance of Igbophobia. Recall that popular activist Omoyele Sowore had urged Nigerians to file out on August 1st to protest against the hardship and current state of the nation. Atn Global made its position on the protest known in a statement released on Monday by its National Publicity Secretary, Alex Ogbonnaya. Now, on to business stories. Nigerian Senate and the National Council of Women's Society, NCWS, on Monday advocated for the inclusion of domestic servants in Nigeria in the proposed 70,000 minimum wage when it comes into effect. The call was at the National Assembly in Abuja during a public hearing on a bill seeking to act to provide for the domestication and registration of domestic workers and employers in Nigeria. The public hearing on the bill, sponsored by Senator Babangida Hussaini, representing Jigawa Northwest, was organized by the Senate Committee on Employment, Labor and Productivity, chaired by Senator Dickett Plank. The Senate's call for the inclusion of domestic servants in the national minimum wage scheme especially came from Senator Osita Izunaso, representing Imo West, during his remarks at the public hearing. He, however, suggested that instead of domestication and protection of domestic workers and employers, the intent of the bill should be changed to registration and protection of domestic workers and their employers. In a similar call, the acting president of NCWS, Mrs. Geraldine Etuk, urged for the inclusion of domestic servants in the proposed national minimum wage. However, during an interview at the sideline of the event, the sponsor of the bill, Senator Babangida Hussaini, said, although he was elated by the general support of the bill got from the various stakeholders, the practical implementation of the additional scope of inclusion of domestic workers in the national minimum wage bill, House of Representatives, Honorable Tajuddin Abbas, has described revenue generation as key to the economic growth of the country, which should be treated with utmost urgency and all attention it deserves. The Speaker made the remark during the investigative hearing on remittances to the coffers of the federal government. Honorable Abbas, who was represented by the House Majority Leader, Honorable Julius Ehonvere, however, lamented that there was growing concern about the flagrant disregard for invitations
respected invited stakeholders, members,
acts as disgraceful, disrespectful, and abuse of power. Chairman of the Joint Committees, Honorable Ahmed Munir, in his remarks, said the Nigerian Export Promotion Council had been greatly made handicapped and unable to perform its statutory duties owing to non-remittances of levies spanning decades, attributing this partly to the failure of Nigerian Maritime Administration and Safety Agency to pay the 10% freight levies to NEPC, the Executive Director of Finance and Administration. Nigeria Maritime Administration and Safety Agency, CHIDI, Afodile, said NIMASA, NIMASA, as an agency created by an established act of government, was consistently obeying government laws, and that the act establishing NIMASA did not make provision for any 10% freight levies to be paid.
Thank you very much, Mr.
NEPC.
Before this committee
Shall be the truth. Who told the committee that the two agencies were created by acts of parliament, called on the House to look at the provisions of the law regarding the agencies.
This event, however, reminds us of the importance of interagency synergy, collaboration and partnership in the running of government activities. There is need for agencies of government to work together to promote economic development. After all, it is one government and one purpose: to build a nation and provide good governance. To avert conflicts of this nature, MDAs must demonstrate high level of accountability, transparency, and openness in their duties and communicate more favorably and effectively among themselves in line with their regulations and laws guiding their activities.
Confusion and rancor distract government's activities. Both NIMASA and NEPC are government agencies under whose responsibilities it is to ensure that their mandates touch lives. The essence of this gathering is for us all to find the truth and also a lasting solution to this lingering issue. A few days ago, the committee had a public hearing where some bills were looked into by Nigerians to either strengthen the existing laws or enact a new one. We would like you also, in the course of this, to lay bare what the challenges are so that the gray areas can be strengthened.
The then President Muhammad Buhari, through the Chief of Staff, Professor Ibrahim Gambari, signed again that these funds should be released from NIMASA to Nigerian Export Promotion Council. Again, this was deferred. And we continued in our pain, not able to fully fulfill our mandate as the apex institution set up to promote the development and diversification of Nigerian economy. We have tried severally. There's been several letters. There was even a time that the Attorney General called for a meeting of Federal Ministry of Industry, Trade and Investment, NIMASA, NEPC, as well as Ministry of Transport, just to ensure that these funds are released, knowing the importance of what these funds would do for the economy.
NIMASA was created with a different set of objectives altogether, with clear provisions on how and where to apply its revenue. The officials of NIMASA today were not the officials of NMA, were not the officials of NIMASA yesterday, and will not be the officials of NIMASA tomorrow. So what is consistent? The consistent thread that binds everybody, including members of the National Assembly, is the full application of the law. And suggesting that we engage NEPC on what or how much to pay to NEPC suggests that NIMASA is in possession of surplus funds. It doesn't exist, Mr. Chairman. And even in the reference to the 50% revenue accruable to the federal government, it was the House that passed the Finance Act and amended it. And that 50% revenue from NIMASA is taken upfront.
The Deputy Chairman, Committee on Maritime Safety, Education and Administration, Honorable Udwak Udo, proposed a motion directing that both NIMASA and NEPC to present their acts before the lawmakers to critically examine, since there were perceived inconsistencies expressed by NIMASA. Joint Committee of the House of Representatives carrying out a forensic investigation into the challenges affecting downstream and midstream petroleum sectors has commenced a probe into allegations of importation of contaminated premium motor spirits, also known as fuel, into the country. The committee's chairman, Ikenga Ugochinyere, disclosed this in a formal inauguration of the panel in Abuja on Monday. The investigative panel will also look into allegations of the non-availability of crude oil to domesticate refineries, disruption in distribution, and favoritism in the pro forma invoice regime, amongst others. Briefing newsmen at the event, Ugochinyere said, the committee will conduct a legislative forensic investigation into the presence of middlemen in crude trading, discriminate issuances of licenses, and alleged unavailability of international standard laboratories to check adulterated products. He noted that the panel would also probe the possible influx of contaminated products into the country and the allegation of non-domestication of profits realized from crude marketing sales in local banks, abuse of PFI regime, and importation of products already being produced in Nigeria. Meanwhile, the panel is set to visit petrol stations nationwide to take samples of their products for laboratory tests to ascertain their quality. Federal government, through the Nigerian Midstream and Downstream Petroleum Regulatory Authority, is expecting fresh reports to confirm the real sulfur content of the diesel produced by Dangote Refinery, as the company debunked claims of inferior fuel production. The NMDPRA spokesman George Ene-Ita, in a news interview, said to newsmen said the agency had done its job and would not engage in a media fight with anybody over the claims made by the NMDPRA Chief Executive Farouk Ahmed that Dangote's diesel has more sulfur content than imported ones. According to Ene-Ita, the authority has about 15 engineers and scientists embedded in the Dangote refinery whose fresh reports about the refinery's sulfur content will be out on Monday. ATN reported Ahmed as alleging that the diesel from the Dangote refinery contains high sulfur content. Reacting to Dangote's allegations that the NMDPRA was giving licenses to some traders to import dirty fuel into Nigeria last week, Ahmed argued that it was Dangote's fuel that had a larger content of sulfur. He also said that the refinery, which has been selling diesel and aviation fuel in Nigeria for months, had yet to be licensed, stating that it was still at the pre-commissioning stages. Now on to international tidbits. Uganda's president, Yoweri Museveni, has issued a stern warning to protesters that they will be playing with fire if they proceed with plans to stage an anti-corruption march to parliament. Uganda's youths have been organizing the march on social media to demand an end to corruption in government. Recall, Kenya's youths had also organized mass demonstrations which forced President William Ruto to drop plans to increase taxes, morphing into calls for his resignation. Museveni, in a televised address, warned the Ugandans organizers that their planned protests would not be tolerated. The president also accused some of the protest organizers of always working with foreigners to cause chaos in Uganda. ATN gathered that Museveni is accused by his critics of ruling Uganda with an iron hand since taking power in 1986. This has supporters, but his supporters praise him for maintaining stability in the Eastern African state. Uganda police had earlier announced that they refused to give permission to the march to take place when Parliament opens on Tuesday. Gunman reportedly opened fire in a nursing home in Croatia on Monday, killing at least 5 people in a rare instance of gun violence in Balkan country. State broadcaster HRT said an unidentified gunman entered a nursing home in Duruvar, some 130 kilometers which is 80 miles east of Zagreb, and opened fire. At least 5 were killed and several others wounded during the shooting, HRC said. The outlet said the alleged suspect had fled but was later arrested by police. The number of dead was later confirmed by Prime Minister Andrej Plenković, who called for the thorough investigation by relevant officials. The head of Regional Emergency Care Facility, Nenad Leki, told local media that medical teams found 4 dead at the scene and 4 others wounded, who were immediately taken to local hospitals. Zleki did not provide information about the 5th victim. Croatian newspaper Jutarnji lists described the alleged shooter as a retired military police officer who killed his mother along with other residents and staff. And now on to entertainment news. Veteran Nollywood actor and politician Kenneth Okonkwo has urged everyone to avoid the Julius Abure-led National Working Committee of the Labour Party. Okonkwo said people would be scammed of their hard-earned money if they followed the Abure-led NWC, which he described as a bunch of ill-fated liars. In his post on his X handle on Monday, the veteran actor dismissed a statement by the NWC of the Labour Party that the Independent National Electoral Commission didn't reject its last convention. ATN recalls that Okonkwo had distanced himself from Julius Abure-led National Working Committee of the Labour Party. He said he wouldn't continue with a corrupt and incompetent NWC led by Abure. The Nollywood veteran expressed strong condemnation of the national convention organized by Abure, saying it was rife with criminality and corruption. According to him, nothing can wash out the criminality and corruption and incompetence which the purported national convention was purportedly organized by Abure. American rapper Cardi B has backed Vice President Kamala Harris to be the Democratic Party's candidate for the United States presidential election. Cardi B, who had earlier suggested that Harris should be the Democratic Party's candidate after President Joe Biden's debate with the Republican Party candidate Donald Trump, welcomed the news of Biden stepping down and endorsing Harris with excitement. ATN reports that President Joe Biden stepped down as the Democratic Party candidate on Sunday and endorsed his vice, Kamala Harris, as the party's flag bearer. Reacting via her X handle, Cardi B wrote, "I told y'all Kamala Harris was supposed to be the 2024 candidate." Cardi B had told Rolling Stone in May that she won't be voting in the November poll if 2 major candidates remain incumbent, President Joe Biden of the Democratic Party and his predecessor, Donald Trump of the Republican Party. She explained that she used to see Trump as a dire threat, but under Biden, she felt layers and layers of disappointment from what she sees as domestic and foreign mismanagement. And now on to sports news. Nigerian forward Chukwuebukem Ekwemesi is close to completing a move to Belgian club Old Hervé Leuven. Leuven will pay Serie B outfit Salernitana £1.8 million for the player. Ekwemesi is expected to have his medicals ahead of the move on Monday, which is today. The 21-year-old will put pen to paper on a 3-year contract. The former Flying Eagles star linked up with Salernitana from Slovenian Pra Liga club Celje in August 2023. He scored 1 goal in 25 league appearances for the Garnets. Muhammad Tijani is looking forward to scoring more goals for the Skybet Championship club Plymouth Argyle after bagging a brace in the club's victory over Cheltenham Town, when Juini's side trashed the EFL League 2 club 5-1 in their first preseason game. Tijani was on target in the 36th and 59 minutes, respectively. The 24-year-old stated that he is determined to maintain his scoring form going into the new season. The striker joined Argyle on loan from Czech Republic outfit Slava Prague last month. Manchester City is considering a move for Crystal Palace Eberechi Eze as a potential replacement for Kevin De Bruyne, the UK Mirror reports. De Bruyne has been linked with a move to Saudi Arabia. Teams in the Middle East, including Al Ittihad, are ready to move for the 33-year-old with a huge deal to leave Manchester City. If Kevin De Bruyne chooses to leave the Premier League champions, then Pep Guardiola will need a suitable cover at the Etihad Stadium. Guardiola is known to be an admirer of Eberechi Eze, who would cost around 68 million pounds this summer. Eze, who played for England at Euros 2024, is also attracting interest from Tottenham Hotspur and Arsenal. Los Angeles Lakers superstar LeBron James has been selected as the male flag bearer for the Team USA at Friday Olympic Games opening ceremony. The 39-year-old was nominated by his fellow American Olympians as the male flag bearer, with a decision on the female flag bearer to be announced on Tuesday. James, a two-time gold medalist, will be competing in his fourth games in Paris. James, a four-time NBA champion and the league all-time leading points scorer, won bronze in Athens in 2004 when he competed in his first games. The American won gold for the first time in Beijing 4 years later and added another in London in 2012. Friday night ceremony will be held on the River Seine and will be the first opening ceremony in summer Olympic history to be held outside the main stadium. Aston Villa has completed the high-profile signing of Belgian midfielder Amadou Onana from Everton, as confirmed by renowned journalist Fabrizio Romano and officially announced by the club. Romano said on Monday via X, official confirmed, Aston Villa have signed Amadou Onana as a new midfielder from Everton. Deal signed for £50 million fee, plus add-ons and sell-on clause, while Onana has signed long-term contracts. The 22-year-old joins Aston Villa in a deal worth £50 million, with additional performance-related add-ons and a sell-on clause included in the agreement. Onana has committed his future to the club by signing a long-term contract. And that's the global news for tonight. Before we go, another look at the major stories. Rivers Assembly warns against dealings with CTC. Police sergeant shoots father to death. Tinubu congratulates new NBA president, Osigwe. Reps probe missing crude, dirty fuel. 5 killed in Croatia nursing home shooting. Cardi B backs Kamala Harris. Ekwe Messi joins Leuven. I am David Obasi, thanking you for watching ATN News at 9 p.m. You can follow us on our socials, our social media platforms, Twitter at Atlantic TV Net, Facebook and YouTube at Atlantic Television Network, Instagram at Atlantic Television Network. Peace and unity are the pathways to progress. Thank you for staying tuned.